Now, I'm sure you all know that Dolly Parton died yesterday. And I've been sitting with that news since I've heard it. Not just because she was one of the most beloved people that this country has ever produced, but because her story is one of the clearest leadership examples I've ever seen. Hi, everybody, I'm Shar, and I wanted to talk to you about what Dolly Parton actually taught us about leading when the room wasn't built for you. Because that's what she did for 80 years, and she did it without ever apologizing for being exactly who she was. Now, let me tell you something about Dolly Parton that gets lost in the rhinestones and the wigs and the jokes that she always made about herself. She was one of the shrewdest business minds of her generation. We all pretty much know her background story. She grew up in a one-room cabin in Locust Ridge, Tennessee. 12 people, no electricity, no running water, and she was the fourth of 12 children. And she started writing songs before she can even read music. And the day she graduated high school, she got onto a bus to Nashville all alone at 17 years old. And back then, the country music industry of the 1960s was not waiting for her. It was a world run by men, for men, and the women who wanted to be in it, they were expected to be grateful for whatever space they were given. And they dared not ask for anything more. But Dolly did ask for more. And for years, she was a feature performer on the Porter Wagoner show. Porter was a star. She was, in his words, his pretty little girl there to sing harmony and look good and to never overshadow the headliner. Well, she was good at it, and she was going nowhere. And in 1974, she made a decision that took more courage than most people will never, ever understand. She left. She walked away from the platform, the exposure, the safety of being attached to an established name, and she bet on herself. She wrote the song "I Will Always Love You" as a goodbye to Porter Wagoner. And it later became one of the most recorded songs in history. That's a woman who knew exactly what she was worth and refused to accept anything less. Now, here's what I want Outliers to hear about how Dolly Parton operated. She never tried to fit in the room. Every time someone tried to put her in a box, whether it's as a country artist, female singer, pretty face, novelty act, she decorated that box with rhinestones, climbed out of it, and went somewhere new. Pop music, Hollywood movies, television, Dollywood, the Imagination Library, Broadway, rock music. 7 decades of doing exactly what she wanted while everyone kept underestimating what she was capable of. And here's the thing that made all of it possible. She never abandoned where she came from to get where she was going. She always took Tennessee with her. She could walk into a Hollywood movie set or into a business negotiation worth hundreds of millions of dollars and still sound like the girl from the Smoky Mountains. Because that girl was the source of everything she had. That's the lesson most outliers miss when they finally get into the room. You don't have to become someone else to belong there. The thing that makes you different is the thing that makes you valuable. Dolly understood that before any of us even had words for it. She also understood something about the difference between image and authenticity that made most leaders get it backwards. People used to say Dolly Parton looked fake. The wigs, the rhinestones, the makeup, nothing about her appearance was natural. And yet, nobody in American public life felt more real. She said it herself. It's true I look totally artificial, but I like to think I'm totally real where it counts. That's not a contradiction. That's a woman who understood that authenticity isn't about how you look. It's about whether the values underneath the image are genuine. Dolly's values were always visible. The generosity, the humor, the refusal to punch down, the way she treated people, all people, like they mattered. She didn't just say those things. She built them into everything she touched. The Imagination Library has donated over 200 million books to children around the world. She funded research that helped recreate a COVID vaccine. She turned down the Presidential Medal of Freedom 3 times, twice from one administration and once from another, because she didn't want it to look political. She said she wasn't even sure if she deserved it. That's not false modesty. That's someone whose values were never about the awards. Now, here's where this lands for outliers in the trades. Dolly Parton navigated a male-dominated industry for 60 years and never once pretended to be something she wasn't, to make that room feel more comfortable. She didn't tone down, she didn't minimize, she didn't try to fit the default image of what a country music star was supposed to look like, or even sound like, or even be. If anything, she amplified. When people tried to use her appearance against her, to dismiss her as a dumb blonde, or to reduce her to a joke, she beat them to that punchline. And then she went back to her office and ran a business empire. That's a playbook every outlier needs to study. You don't have to shrink yourself to belong in a room. You don't have to perform a version of yourself that makes people who are already skeptical feel more comfortable. The thing they're trying to use against you, your gender, your identity, your background, the way you look or talk, or where you even came from, that's not your liability. That's your iron. She also knew when to walk away and bet on herself. When the situation wasn't going to give her what she was worth, she went on and built something new. Not out of anger, not out of bitterness. She even wrote a song for Porter Wagoner when she left him. She stayed gracious, and when she went on and built her own thing anyway. That's the move. Not fighting for a seat at the table that was never going to give you the head chair, but building your own table. Dollywood employs thousands of people in a region that needed that economic development. The Imagination Library operates in multiple countries. Her publishing catalog is worth hundreds of millions of dollars, and she owned it herself because she understood early on that creators who give away their rights give away their future. She built it all by being completely strategically and unapologetically herself. I've been thinking since yesterday about what it means to lose someone like her. Not just the music and not just the movies, but the example. Because in a world that is constantly telling outliers to be less loud, less different, less themselves, Dolly Parton spent 80 years being more. More rhinestones, more humor, more generosity, more of exactly who she was from that one-room cabin in Tennessee. And the world loved her for it. Not despite who she was, but because of it. That's the permission slip she leaves behind for every person who's ever been told they were too much, or not enough, or not the right kind of person for the room they were trying to walk into. You are the room. Walk in like you own it. Thank you, Dolly. Rest easy. You rode all 8 seconds and made one hell of a ride. Thank you, everybody. I'm Shar. Stay in the middle.